Joe Launchbury, one of those being watched. Nathan Hughes, another. Elliot Daly, no doubt, as well. Andrew Brace from Ireland is the referee. The mental battle, a big one for Wasps today. They must stick to their processes, stick to their game plan up against Zebre, who haven't won in the Champions Cup in their history. Well, they got to the semi-final last season, Wasps travelling through a pool containing Toulon and Leinster. On paper this season it's a much easier group as they start this year's European journey. Already Ashley Johnson moving back to the back row today. Has been playing at hooker. Takes the kick-off. Skelton, they'll rely on him to carry the ball. There's 4-0. Biaggi moves from Zebre. That is going to play into Wasps' hands. Here's Young. Thomas Young. Great footballing skill from him. And already loosens to Zebre. A play like that today, it's going to be a really long afternoon for them, Pat.
Yeah, no question. I think, one thing that Zebre have to bring is intensity and physicality, and hope that that's enough, I guess, to close the gap in talent between these two sides. And when you kick off, you don't get that first big hit in, you don't control things right from the off, and then compound that with some errors, and Wasps on the attack straight away. And it's a very, very worrying thing if you're a Zebre coach right now.
Functioning about 85% of the line-out. Zebre in the Pro 12, bottom of the pile in that competition.
5, 6.
It's Padovani. 3 caps for Italy. Josh Bassett really has bulked up since being a star of the England under-20 side. Was at the Bedford Blues in those days. There's Nathan Hughes, all about his power. Cipriani, it's a massive hole for Eastman. Only been used off the bench so far this season, such has been the form of the midfield of Cipriani and Gopper and Daly. Nice opening break for the England international. Here's Gaskell and Johnson, Simpson, Mullin. All these forwards so happy with ball in hand. There's Tom Cruz. Cipriani, Eastman the decoy. Oh, they're lining up outside, and it's Rob Miller, and we haven't even played 2.5 minutes, and Wasps on the score sheet already.
Dan, it was far, far, far too easy, wasn't it? It really stemmed from a very basic defensive error in the Zebre line, not locking in the first 2 defenders in and around the breakdown. That let them make that initial line break. They got in behind, and then no one really getting the head over the ball and slowing the ball down. And we know just how difficult Wasps are, aren't they, when they get that tempo going. They get on the front foot. They've got so many potent runners that you really have to stop it at source. And the opportunity was there on 3 or 4 occasions to get in over the ball, slow it down. They didn't, and Wasps kept it alive beautifully, and it was inevitable in the end.
I mean, they were hanging out of the ruck, weren't they, Zebre, but still unable to slow Wasps down, and it was so easy for Rob Miller.
Yeah, you just have to get the balance right between slowing the ball down and narrowing that defensive line. And at the moment, they're far, far, far too hands off at ruck time.
First kick of the season for Danny Cipriani, and it is successful.
It was nicely executed though in those wider channels, but that's about as easy a walk in as Rob Miller's going to get, isn't it?
And that's going to be the point today, isn't it? Many people expecting the Italians to come away with a victory here today. It's about Wasps keeping their discipline in what they know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they'll want to get in front. The pressure will be off, and then really it's about the level of execution that they can maintain. And it's important actually that as Wasps start to mature and become a more consistent force, that regardless of result, regardless of who they're playing, they maintain their own standards.
Simpson goes high. Van Zyl, Carl Van Zyl Former Eastern Province Kings man. No Kurt Baker's in the Zebre team. The New Zealand Sevens man has been playing at fullback, but it's turned over. It's Cooper Woolley. Possession again for Wasps. Cipriani. Which runner did he choose? It's Eastman. Break for Eastman. Simpson there quickly.
Tackle, release and move!
Zebre told to release. Highlight. Isn't there too many opportunities?
Mark!
Wade and Bassett occupying the wide berth for Wasps so far this season.
Perhaps a little bit too much of the breakdown on that last occasion there, but at least some indication that Zebre are going to start competing in that particular aspect of the game. And if they do, well, you know, Wasps won't look quite so dangerous, but they really, to a man, are going to have to get over the ball and slow it down and get some structure in this game, because if it's broken, Wasps are unstoppable, and I don't know anyone that will live with Wasps when they're playing on the front foot at pace.
But it's simple, isn't it? Cipriani draws his man, Daly draws his man, little inside step just to draw the man. It looks so easy, but this is rehearsed time and time again in training, as is the line-out and its launch break. Tom Cruise wasn't expected to play last week. Tommy Taylor pulled out with a stomach bug. No more details required. Fit to be on the bench today, though. There was an issue with a P. Italians haven't heard it, and the referee keeps playing his whistle. Do we have a replacement whistle in the Ricoh Arena? I suspect so. This is a marvellous venue. Really is. It's such a brave and bold move to move up here, but marketing team have done superbly well. It's a happy squad. It's a happy club. Thriving business in and around this arena.
Huh? Yeah, no.
Embraces. Come to the assistant referee for a change of whistle.
Cheers, buddy.
You see this too often, do we?
I don't think I've ever seen it before, actually.
Okay, playing a 9 without the ball. Playing a 9 without the ball.
What was his decision? Penalty, yeah, okay, as we thought. Again, penalty to Wasps, and again, I think Zebre is feeling they're under pressure. They're working harder and harder now at that breakdown, but you know, again, you've got to keep discipline against these guys.
They have scored the most tries in the Premiership, the most meters, the most defenders beaten, the most points. Bonus point. Territory every time they go on the field. Cruz again.
Tackle White to move!
Oh, Rotherham captain. Recommended by Lee Blackett on the coaching staff here. Wasps now. Yeah. Son of director of rugby.
What is available?
Just held for a moment. Simpson. Cipriani. Just a simple scissors with Halley.
Way White!
Such a big man. They can round the corner again. Twisting and spinning and scoring. And it's Cooper Woolley.
Look, a fantastic start for Wasps, no question. If we're going to be hypercritical, they've gone to the corner twice, tried to drive Zebre twice, failed twice, but individually, ball in hand, we saw it from the stats. You know, 22 defenders beaten per game. You know, the minute they get into open play, they each and every one of them is capable of breaking a tackle, getting an offload, and making something special happen. And we've seen it on 2 or 3 occasions this year already where they look like they may have lost a game, but actually it's the individual within that Wasps team that's kind of dug them out of the hole. And my fear today is that I don't think defensively Zebre have the ability to subdue the individual runners that Wasps have got.
Marty Moore is out with the backs. And next spasm. Ireland prop Cipriani. Simple enough. He said he learnt so much of his time at Sale. Very different on the back foot, learning how to win games, to control games on the back foot. He is firmly on the front foot this season, firmly on the front foot today in this opening round of the Champions Cup. And it's allowing the likes of Cooper Woolley to roam free from that kind of distance. Cooper Willie was at England Saxon in the summer. Easy enough for him. Launchbury sweeps up. He goes on a little rumble, Launchbury, and then the flick out the back door. Daly was there, tried to get it to Simpson. Foot just out of touch though.
Brilliant from Launchbury, wasn't it? Lovely take on the run. Real power and a fantastic offload, so he'll be pleased with that. A bit of a settler for him. Stepping out of that first tackle, this was a fantastic offload, wasn't it? Out the back of the hand.
There is plenty of chat, isn't there, about Cruz and Itoje, but with injuries in the back row, Joe Launchbury, of course, has played 6. People talk about Itoje in the back row as well. This is a real opportunity for Joe Launchbury, isn't it, to show his wares?
Yeah, no question. I mean, my belief is that Launchbury is likely to get the second row spot with Itoje filling the berth in the back row, but you're right, he's a tremendous athlete, isn't he? And you sometimes forget that. You know, he's a great line-out forward, but you know, he's a real athlete. He's got fantastic hands, and I think perhaps what's most encouraging actually is just his maturity within this Wasps team. When you look down the Wasps team, they're not a team full of old heads, and he's a big influence on this team, and we're starting to see them mature, I think, as a result really of his decision-making ability.
Okay.
Well, he made his debut at 19 to Joe Launchbury, and is hoping to be involved in the Old Mutual Wealth Series. First up for England against South Africa, and then Fiji, Argentina and Australia on the 3rd of December. All live on Sky Sports. But James Haskell was making the point before the game, wasn't he? The likes of Daly, the likes of Launchbury played plenty of rugby in the earlier days, in the slightly darker days. The Wasps were battling relegation in the Premiership. They chalked up plenty of game time.
Yeah, he's played a lot, undoubtedly, and as you say, in some reasonably adverse situations as well, and it absolutely starts to build the man, and he's very well respected within this environment and the England environment, for the right reasons. He's hard-working, he's endeavourous, there's a huge amount of talent there, and I think that people listen to him. He's a leader, and the more leaders within that environment, the more successful both Wasps and the international England team will be.
He's a born leader, absolutely, Joe Launchbury. Just took Cherries back on his feet. He won the line out, and then Wasp came through, but it's illegally, says the referee. Race.
Entry black, 8.
Getting himself involved, isn't he, Nathan Hughes? The EPS squad down at publicised training camp down in Brighton.
Yeah, and I think we talk about experience and decision making. I think this is a really great example of it here, right? Hughes, we know what a fantastic athlete he is. The decision right there to leave that ball alone, to get yourself back on side, to pressure it in a different way, and to stay in the game is what you'll expect to see from him 18 months, 2 years from now. There's no doubt that guy's got a huge future. It just takes time before you start to iron out those little kinks, because when Borthwick comes down and looks at Hughes today, or Gustave from a defensive perspective, he looks at that and he says, can I trust that man? And I guess that trust comes with just consistency over time.
Still just 25 years of age, and many would say still very raw, Nathan Hughes. Cruz did well, didn't he?
Tackle White!
Not only off the back of the line-out, but sweeping up that loose pass from Daly. Advantage coming to Wasps. Launchbury.
Okay, stay there.
Just upended.
Got to be a little bit careful, haven't you?
Okay, Peter, can you hear me?
And he's gone to the TMO. Wants to have another look at this, and Launchbury it was that
there by White.
very nearly fell quite awkwardly.
Skeltbeck was the man involved in the tackle.
Here comes Andy.
The key here, just watch for the arms. Does he use the arms, or does he lift once he gets underneath him? And I think he could be in a bit of trouble here. In fact, he could be in a lot of trouble here.
Angle on that, Peter?
Had one last night, didn't he, the Glasgow game. Tamua early on.
Okay, tell you what I'm seeing.
Card because
there's one more here, Andy. One more.
His shoulder and back.
And it looks awful. He clearly falls awkwardly.
Do you agree?
Yes, Andy, I agree. No grasp tackle.
I'm thinking penalty yellow card.
For the sake of the punt, launches himself into that, kind of comes off his feet.
Body, but not in a very dangerous position, so a happy penalty and yellow card.
Okay. No. He fails to complete the grasp. Again, I'm only playing advantage for not rolling away. It's a yellow card.
And it's yellow. As if the job wasn't hard enough for Zebre. It's Galbe, Italian international. He's off the field for 10.
He probably feels a little bit aggrieved, but you know, look, the rules are very clear, and they've been policed now for some time, and it's a dangerous enough game as it is, I suppose.
He went really low, didn't he? Rugby came over the top. Sure, anything malicious was meant by Gascoigne's the line out. Cipriani, Eastman. Just a little bit too much mustard on the pass. Here's Bassett.
No advantage, last forward.
We get these details right, Wasps, as Steve Borthwick looks on.
No, you're right. The detail is everything with Wasps, and
that man.
Well, he will be looking at the detail. You know, that's the way Steve Borthwick is built, isn't it? He's an incredibly technical coach, and Gustard beside him. I'm not so sure he'll learn too much about Wasps' defence today.
We'll see how not to do it. Free kick at the scrum for Wasps, and they decide to go for the scrum again.
There's no
We get the dominance in that area. Already 2 tries up. Wasps, and it's a great scrum right in the middle of the park. Plenty of space on both sides. So Daly and Bassett on this near side.
Yeah, and don't forget, Zebre down to 14. No one in the bucket in the number 8 slot. So you lose an inside defender there, and these split field scrums are so hard to defend anyway.
And Joe Simpson's pace as well. Let's forget that. Nathan Hughes. It's gone straight through Mini, and then goes into Felovani. Already his 6th carry. Nathan Hughes. Launch sprint. Pulls it back to Daly. Miller bounces off the first man. Bassett. Now lost reload. Thomas Young gets through so much work. Daly and Miller. Cipriani playing really flat onto Johnson. The ball is immediately popped up for Cruz. There was space there for Cipriani. He just gives the pass. Unsighted. They are trusting their attacking formation so much. Cipriani just expects the man to be there, and he was. And it was Joe Simpson in his testimonial here.
Way too easy, wasn't it? Look, Wasps aren't faultless, they're not doing everything right, but individually they're breathtaking, their footwork, their offloads. Hughes it was from the back of the scrum. I think they might have scored an awful lot earlier had he have gone left with the wheel. He didn't. He was big enough and strong enough to get in behind Zebre, but you can see they're just keeping the ball alive all the time, and that doesn't allow Zebre to get set. And if they're not set, broken field runners absolutely everywhere. And Cipriani, well, hardly had to look, did he?
He's got a massive call. You can just see on the replay there, Joe Simpson, a massive call. Communication, defence and offence, so important. Simpson just gave the call.
And I think what you'll find is that when you're attacking well and you're full of confidence and that trust is there, people tend to run the attacking line. They flow through, so that Cipriani automatically knows there's someone on his shoulder. They're always looking for the offload. They're always looking to keep that ball alive, and it's a sign of an enormously confident side. And well, Cipriani at his best, isn't it?
Federico Luza is the man preparing to come on. Jaco Sarto, older brother of Leonardo, had a pretty good night last night, didn't he? Glasgow Warriors made a big statement against the Leicester Tigers last night. Sarto with a couple of tries. Worrying times, isn't it, for Gianluca Guidi?
that player on, yeah?
What's worrying for me,
cheers,
Johnny, is that the one, I guess, staple ingredient to Italian rugby is passion and endeavour and physicality, and I'm not seeing that from this team.
I was going to say, you'd expect this opening quarter to be the quarter that Zebre put as much pressure as they can onto Wasps. We've just not seen that. Wasps hogging the ball in their own backyard.
You're right, and attitude, commitment, all the, I guess, the buzzwords, but they essentially reflect the culture of a team. And you can only assume that it's not a happy camp, because to turn up on the first weekend of Europe, against a side like Wasps in this, in fantastic conditions on a fantastic service, and not bring your A game, it is beyond me.
Back 10, 9.
Back. Always an extra buzz around the clubs when the European weekends come around. And Young said to me this week, they work their socks off to get into this competition. Must enjoy it while you're here. Continue to work.
What's
that pool of death? You didn't expect Wasps to get out of it. Much more pressure on Wasps this year with a less tough pool, should we say. And here is Zebre, and this is what they can do, the driving ball. It's Biaggi. Gaskelis dragging in the scrum half. Nditi comes off his wing. Colazani. Here's the scrum half again. Padovani. Fly half.
Use it! No, it's not out.
Johnny Jones thought he'd get away with it. Use that.
It's not out, still in the rock.
Reaction of the crowd says it all.
Yeah, but better, wasn't it, from the Italians on that occasion? They got that drive going pretty well. They defended the drive and executed it reasonably well. It's the most positive aspect of their game, and actually that structure is exactly how you beat Wasps. Keep the ball off the floor, keep it in the arms, turn it into an arm wrestle, and actually Wasps will be a little bit concerned, because they will play against better opposition than this, and when they do, they need to have a complete game. And at the moment, I would say that their plan B, as it were, the ability to close the game down and go to their forwards, still looks a little bit underpowered compared to some of the heavyweights you see around.
Plenty of injuries in the Wasps camp at the moment, though.
Out now, out.
As we'll see from Holby City
Stop 9 going
Monday morning.
sideways.
Plenty of bruised bodies after the
Captain.
Saracens' defeat. The bruising going on here by Zebre, and they've got the penalty as well. And they may have got more here, Zebre. They have.
Oh, it's good.
And it's the man who's only just come on, Federico Ruza.
2 players in the side, okay? Discipline.
But that will set the alarm bells ringing, won't it, for Dai Young? That's the second one in succession. They knew it was coming. I mean, I don't think they could have had a clearer indication that they were going to be driven again, and you've just got to disrupt it at source. He'll be disappointed in that effort from the Wasp pack in particular. Good clean take, allowed them to set it. They were lower than Wasps. You can see the launch speed peeling out really easily out the front there. They're not working round, are they, to stop that drive? And well, look, it was a well-earned score from Zebre, but Wasps will be very, very disappointed when they look back at that on the video.
And this pack is all down to 14 men, a 7-man pack. The number 8 Van Schalkwyk in the sin bin. Disruption as well. Sato going off.
Okay, it is hard, isn't it, to maintain your standards when you're 21 points up, but look, the best sides, the greatest sides, have the ability to focus on their own execution and their own standards.
Padovani, nice kick. The 23-year-old was a real star for the Italian under-20s team. Been there for a couple of years, with his full international debut as a replacement against England in the Six Nations earlier this year. 100% for his country, 100% so far today. 21-7. Already had
I've spoken to him.
4 tries in this game. Even into the second quarter of it, as Cipriani. It's underway again. 4-0. Formerly of Newcastle. us last night, Newcastle, didn't it? The Ospreys, Cardiff Blues at a victory over Bristol as well. Good drive from Zebre. We said as they're running through their teams, they do have a driving more, can be very effective. They haven't won so far this season, but very close to beating Connacht last month, and then the heavens opened, the game was abandoned. Johnson, 6 carries for the blind side. It was a heavy one as well, wasn't it? Took several with him, well and truly over that game line. Simpson goes short side for Gaskell. I've seen plenty of forwards in at first receiver. That time it was Launchbury who feeds Hughes. Cipriani for Eastman. Halle just plucks it out of the air with the right paw. Nditi trying to turn that ball over, Maritoje-like. Johnson again, who started this all off. Simpson, it's on a silver platter at the moment for the scrum half, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a tackle, White, and move!
All again, Wasps just slowly building. Better defence from Zebre, though, in this phase. Gaskell just skips through the tackle. Staglino. And they do get the penalty, Zebre, and they will be back up to 15 as well.
On the 5.
Yeah, and the defensive focus at the moment from Zebre is far too high. The big Wasp runners are barrelling in and just making yards far too easily. Much lower tackle focus. Next man in on the ball and slow it down, and you'll start to see that perhaps Wasps don't have the same sort of time and space, but at the moment they're losing the impact on every occasion.
Sculpwick back on, and we can have a word, or James Gilmore can have a word with Andrea Massi, the former international Italian centre fullback and a Wasp legend as well.
Yes, he certainly is. Retired over the summer, Andrea. I'm sure it's slightly bittersweet. It feels more like the north of Italy than the Midlands today. Beautiful sunshine. I imagine you wish you were out there.
Absolutely, yeah. I would like to be out with the boys and play some rugby.
Wasps have been playing down their chances in this year's European Champions Cup, but by the looks of things and in the Premiership, I mean, this is a wonderful squad. How excited are you about where this side, your old side, can go?
Yeah, it's amazing how good they are at the moment, how well they are playing, and the brand of rugby they are playing is really entertaining. It's really exciting to watch them, and yeah, I'm really pleased with them.
You're also watching on with, maybe you're slightly split in terms of your emotions, because as a proud Italian, you want Italian rugby to do well as well, and the Zebre attack here. Is this good for Italian rugby, the opportunity they get to play the very best sides in Europe, in England?
Yeah, I reckon it's really important to play at the most high level as possible, to challenge the best players in the world in order to get better. But yeah, today Zebre, they are struggling a little bit against this Wasps team. Unfortunately, you know, they used to be really physical as a team, and they used to play with a lot of passion, but today, yeah, they are really struggling at the moment.
Right, well, they just got one try back, so perhaps they'll start a fight back from this point on. Andrea, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
It was a lovely kick from Danny Cipriani, wasn't it, from the turnover, daily involved. Very sensible, neat play from Danny Cipriani.
Yeah, look, I guess it's a really good example of how he's maturing and his game management as well.
Not going to keep having
you
this
know,
discussion.
2-3 years ago, there's absolutely no way that ball would have gone on boot and they would have pinned Zebre down again. They'd have been running from everywhere, and I think actually him and Simpson are going to be key to Wasps this year in terms of how far they go in this tournament, because you're going to have to be able to play with some structure at some point to beat, you know, the likes of Toulouse and Toulon and Saracens.
Toulouse next week. Few options at in that midfield, don't they, with Jimmy Goppert, the player of the month in the Premiership, announced this week. New contract as well. He's been busy as Jimmy Goppert.
Yeah, he's a great balance, isn't he, for Cipriani? And he's slotted into that inside centre role. I think probably better than most people thought he would. And there's so much talent to pick from, isn't there? Hard to name the Wasp backline that will be in the latter stages of this tournament right now, with so many people injured and coming back into it. But for me, I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. And has been for a long time. Great signing by Wasps.
Yeah, for Newcastle, for Leinster. I think we said about the coaches. Jimmy got a brilliant guy to have around the place. Hello, inside! That's sensational. Absolutely sensational.
That is what Wasps can do better than any other side in Europe. They take an opportunity, a moment in time, and they turn it into something better than any other side in Europe. And you can never count them out because of it. Brilliantly executed. Fantastic pieces of individual skill. A beautiful cross kick, wasn't it, from Cipriani? But again, everyone flowing through, and Rob Miller it was with another one.
The vision from Cipriani. Hala, incredible hands. And Miller just never gives up on the course to score his second.
There is nothing better than being a forward in a side like this. You know, because you know there's always a chance. There's always someone out there that can turn a game, give you momentum. And it was just 2 or 3 brilliant pieces of skill, wasn't it, compounded together.
Cipriani, he's in the mood. Wasps are in the mood. Brilliant hands, and then the awareness just to get himself airborne before slipping inside. And again, we spoke about it, didn't we, for the Simpson try, that trust that the man is on the inside, or a man is in support.
But they're used to it, right? They know that they're going to get these balls away, so they're running the positive line. And like you say, we saw it with Simpson for the try previous. Miller on that occasion. It's a confident side. Okay. And Cipriani to the air again, which I like. I like the fact that he's actually mixing his game up.
Into the second quarter, bonus point already in the bag for Watson. Statistically, this is their strongest quarter of the game. 10 of the 27 tries that Wasps scored in the Premiership have come in the second quarter of the game. Tom Cruise refuses to let go.
Use it!
Federico Ruza. Tommaso Boni is down for Zebre, down to 14,
right there,
with the outside centre on one knee deep in his own half. Yeah, for Gaskell, and he opens his leg, flips it to Simpson. Gaskell straight back on his feet again, straight back into the game. Cipriani floats another one out. Halley, he's up against a forward flank. Halley, he's created one, and now he's scoring one.
Way too easy, isn't it? Way too easy. Brilliant line, though, to be fair, by Gaskell. Read it beautifully, kept the ball alive well. And then Cipriani at the moment, well, it's error-free from him. And Halley that time was the beneficiary of a fantastic pass. But you can see, great late change of direction from Gaskell. And up on his feet. And then a lovely floated pass over the top. Too easy for Halley.
Not required by England, Danny Cipriani. But he is controlling this game superbly well, mixing it.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, isn't it? When we look at the last 2 or 3 phases that led to that try. Firstly, it was a fantastic kick from Cipriani, a great kick chase. And then he put Gaskell in space, albeit Gaskell changed direction beautifully. And then back in the game, a lovely floated pass over the top. You know, everything is coming through him at the moment.
Hasn't missed off the tee either. Doesn't look like he's going to miss off the tee. 5 from 5 for Danny Cipriani. 5 tries already for Wasps. Looking at that pass from Thomas Young to Gaskell.
Yeah, Young, not Cipriani, but again, I mean, it was a great line, wasn't it, from Gaskell?
This is a competition of places. Kieran Mile injured at the moment with a neck injury. But in that second row, Gaskell, Launchbury, Mile.
So, you know, again, a great kick take there from Wasps. They set it up, they understand what their clearing patterns are, they're not losing their heads at all, and a lovely clearance kick there from Simpson gets them back out of their half. And I think, again, just another example of how Wasps understand where and when to play.
When you have top quality players all competing for places, you get performances week in, week out. No Christian Wade today, of course. Curtly Beale to come into the mix. Billy LaRue. Beale here today on duty. Skolvik.
Get out of there quicker, please. Clean the tackle area.
Perhaps a little bit harsh there by the referee. Plenty of bite, plenty of sting.
Rolled into the line's path.
In some of those Wasp tackles, and there he is, Curtly Beale.
There's Curtly Beale, back December on the injury. The Wallaby, Christian Wade there as well. We were talking to Lee Blackett before the game. He said, I just don't know where you're going to fit in the likes of Curtly Beale, the likes of Billy LaRue at the moment.
Invariably, those decisions are made for you, aren't they? If this Wasps backline drift through the season with everybody fully fit, then I'd be amazed. They're going to pick up injuries, and the fact that they've now got that strength and depth really bodes well. And they'll hold no fear in Europe after last year, and I think that's really, really important. So, kind of watch this space for me. I think they're going to be real contenders this year.
We waited till it's next week, and Daly's just handing off people. Simpson, Cipriani, there was space in front of me just for a moment. Decides to use the likes of Launchbury. Simpson is caught this time for Padovani. Zebre trying to turn that ball over, but Cooper Willie just
use it 9.
Turns it in. Here's Matt Mullen. Substituted
initially, and then you've lost
3 of England's
scrum white.
June tests against Australia. Matt Mullen off the bench. No Joe Marler, of course. For Makavunapola.
I assume you've got the message in now.
He's had some horrific injuries in his career, but he's playing
right, next one's a penalty.
up and around here his best at the moment, Matt Mullen.
Yeah, when you look at this Wasp side and the work rate and the endeavour that goes in, he's a great example of that. A real athlete, tremendously fit, gets to do an enormous amount of work, and he's your front rower. He's the guy that's meant to run least, and tremendously dedicated man he is to get himself in that sort of shape, and that's the reason that Wasps can play the way they do, because the likes of Matt Mullen are getting around the play, they're covering yards and they're covering rucks that some teams just are incapable of doing because they don't have that level of mobility.
It's all very well the headline acts, the Dailies and the Coppers all starts up front, of course, and the work rate that those forwards do. Gaskell catches
the tackle, Black! Out!
Told to get out now, Hughes and Gaskell. Lazani and there's Venditti. So back to Zebre from Newcastle. Biaggi, who's at Bristol. Forno.
Part of the rock, he's part of the rock, through the middle.
Falcons as well. Hughes has just snaffled that one up. Ball just lying there for him. Oh, Cooper Woolley. Oh, it's an intercept. Rusa, try number 2 for him. Wasps just possibly playing a little bit too much in their own half. Give a loose pass, and the substitute goes in for his second.
Poor decision, wasn't it, in isolation? Launchbury did a fantastic job, but got time to turn the ball over. Default is, isn't it, 2 passes away, let's have a look, see what's on, and well, just the wrong people. Ball in hand at that time. Mullin it was. He'll be frustrated and disappointed with that.
And that will annoy Wasps. It will annoy Dai Young up in the stands there. It's kind of mistakes they don't want to be making today. Of course, well in the lead, the bonus point already. 5 tries. There's another side of that. They want to keep that clean sheet, but already 2 tries to Zebre. And another opportunity for Eduardo Padovani with a conversion.
I mean, look, it's the other side of the sword, isn't it? You know, Wasps have a tremendous dedication to playing good running rugby. It's pretty high risk at times. It looks spectacular when it comes off, but it does lead, you know, to incidents like this. And you know, again, it only really comes with time. The more you play with that same level of confidence and dedication to that wide game, the better you get at making decisions. And invariably, at times, you're going to make poor ones. You know, look, on a day like today, 35 points out front, I don't think they'll be too disappointed. I think, you know, Dai Young probably knows that it's a byproduct of the way he wants his team to play at times.
Hold, captain.
There's a point that Dai Young was linked to me at training this week. You earn your spurs in Europe, slowly build and build and build, and that's exactly what he has done. And everything, if you come here to the Ricoh Arena, the whole setup, training at Broad Street at the moment, but
open up, captain.
Talks of building their own training centre. It's a really happy camp, and they've got the foundations now, Wasps, and they're building a very, very good team around it. Semi-finalists last year, of course, losing to Saracens. But in this pool of Toulouse and Connacht, of course. And going later on at 5:05, the sports ground. It's a pool that they all very happy to be in after last year's pool with Toulon and Leinster.
No, I think you're right. Look, you know, you're right. You do build momentum in Europe. It takes our period of time, and by that I mean seasons, in order to be comfortable in the latter stages of Europe consistently. And we saw that, didn't we? You know, with Saracens and their journey over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, that actually it might take 3 or 4 cracks before you get there. Before you really understand what it's like to win those big games and find a way to win the big game. But last year was a fantastic start for Wasps, and it will go a long way to giving them real confidence that they can be a force again this year. And I mean, when you look through the side and the talent that they've got and the way they play, you know, they are 5-10% by way of decision making away from being you know, a truly great side.
The players missing today, we've mentioned a few of them. As Mullin sets off towards that try line, perhaps another try they fancy before the break. He's got his number slightly now, Zebre, haven't they? 2 men on the big number 8 every time he gets the ball. One of the match against Harlequins, his stats that were absolutely off the chart.
I need you to have a word now, otherwise somebody goes to a bit again.
Yeah, they're just a little bit loose, Wasps. They're not quite loading up through the contact like they were.
Tackle roll.
Hughes, it was that time, was a little bit isolated, but we've seen that 2 or 3 times now in the last 10 minutes. They just need to tighten up in and around the ball carrier, keep the pace of ball high, and you know, the rest will take care of itself.
You're talking about opening round, especially at home. You just can't afford to lose your home games, of course. We're talking about momentum building season on season. Possibly the only exception would be Toulon, of course, but it's a very different story. Building momentum in the competition as well. You like to start at home, away at Leinster last season. It was a good victory for Wasps, but back at home found one this year. Build from here.
Interesting formation from Wasps here, isn't it? This midfield scrum.
Use it, 8!
Simpson hanging off, using his pace.
Use it!
Already tried. I want to make a statement today. Hughes, Simpson just about gets the ball away. Simpson, Ashley Johnson. There it is. Try number 6 before half-time.
And you could see it, couldn't you? Great dominant scrum. Hughes actually did well there at the base, but Simpson just hanging off meant that he was outside the defence. So fast, so potent. Just that extra 2 or 3 metres from the scrum, as you can see there. Gets him outside the defender. Johnson just walks it in. Good control from Hughes at the base, not easy under quite a bit of pressure. Scrum moving forward quickly. Great strength from Simpson. He's not the biggest stature, is he? Gets his arms free and no stopping that man from short distance.
But it was that utter intent, Joe Simpson, to get his arms free, to get that pass away. He knew if he did, it would be a try. Someone would be on his shoulder, and the man on his shoulder was a South African. Cipriani adds the 2. He's been faultless in this first 40 minutes. Danny Cipriani. He will be a reasonably happy man when he die young.
It can't not be, can he? You know, regardless of who you're playing, they've executed well. The job is done. 42 points on the board, and I think more of the same at half-time will be the message.
Clearly, well, 8 tries already in the game. Expected Wasps to be in the driving seat, possibly not as firmly seated in it as they are. 42 points to 14 at the break here at the Ricoh Arena. Six tries in all for the Wasps, the twice European champions in their day, and some brilliant.
Anyone too, yeah? Yeah, Brissy, I got you. It's quite quiet.
Thank you very much, Alex. He may well be disappointed, Danny Cipriani, not to be in that England squad, but he certainly will be disappointed that first 40 minutes of this season's European Champions Cup. Daly, straight off the kick-off, he's straight through. They start this second half the way they ended the first half, scoring tries for fun.
I know we talked about Cipriani so much, didn't we, in the first half. Didn't put a foot wrong. That was a brilliant, brilliant kick, wasn't it? Absolutely on the money. Daly, full flight, climbs beautifully, and just kicks out of a couple of tackles and scores. And, well, I don't know what they said in the changing room at half-time, Zebre, but I would imagine some pretty harsh words being spoken under the sticks right now. Great take, great acceleration as well, wasn't it? Kept his feet well, lovely fend, but invariably, absolutely awful. Well, thank goodness the man's human. That's the first mistake he's made today.
A little chuckle from Dai Young does bring a great deal of humour to it. 6 from 6 until then, and Cipriani misses the conversion, but his first mistake certainly. McHalley trying to get in the way of James Gaskell. Gaskell not put off though by anyone, including his own teammates. Cruz, another good drive from him, get the leg drive going really nicely, the hooker. Now Simpson's turn to misfire with a kick, this time with a box kick.
Yeah, he'll be frustrated with that because it was a well executed clearance pattern there, wasn't it? Nice carry, hammered through well, got his blockers in place, plenty of time to execute that box kick, just drifted off the outside of his boot and into touch. Bit of defending to do.
Substitute to let you know about Zebre at half time. Canna. And for Kyle Van Ziel, fullback.
Use it!
Canna may well slot in at 10 and then Padovani go back to 15 where he's played most of his rugby this season. Biaggi. Now the back there is Canna. Canna has come in at fly half.
Ball is out there, last forward scrum.
Knock on from Zebre, was scrum.
Yeah, forced there, wasn't it, by Launchbury. Fantastic line speed there. Didn't fancy 18 stone bearing down on him. A lovely kick off this, wasn't it? Absolutely on the money. Couldn't have put it there better if he'd have walked it.
There's the brilliant. It's not a shocker, is it?
Can't believe he's still on the field.
Okay, let's go again.
I wonder whether that has been a part of Cipriani and Gopeth Daly. That midfield has been working really well. Is that Gopeth has been taking those kicking responsibilities, just taking that pressure off Cipriani. Is that a factor for you?
No, it really isn't.
Oh,
I mean, today lies in the face of that, doesn't it? Cipriani's done it all, hasn't he? Albeit slightly less pressured environment, I suppose, than he's been used to in weeks before.
Hold 8. Wait! 5, captain!
Miller to Daly.
Advantage.
So often on the same page, Pat.
1, 2, 3, all offside, advancing in front of the kicker.
For you.
Just being honest. That being said, I think they do complement each other brilliantly in those two positions. They're a good balance. They're both a great kicking option. Both take the line particularly well. And you know, when you've got someone like a Simpson who takes the line particularly well around the side of the ruck and the maul, and then Cipriani who's wide and flat and takes the line, takes the ball going forward as well, with Gopper as well, and it starts to compound and it makes it incredibly difficult as a defensive side when you've got all that forward threat.
Wait.
Incredible try that we got the score started by Danny Cipriani, just from a different rugby planet against Northampton, but they really dug in that day, didn't they, against Northampton under a huge amount of pressure. Saw their defensive qualities as well that day. They are, in terms of tackle success, the best in the Premiership so far this season. They make the most tackles.
Yeah, I think that Northampton game was probably quite a good indicator of Wasps this year, in so much as actually probably didn't deserve to win it, and it was their individuals that dug them out of it.
I'm trying to help you. Okay. Come back on.
Average per game, 140 tackles made.
Balance.
About the work rate as well, Wasps, and it's clear to see in their performances in that first block of 6 games in the Premiership. All the headlines about the wonder tries, of course, but it has to be on solid foundations, line out scrum defence, but solid scrum at that time for
Lifted, and that's
Daly.
fine. Move right.
Sensibly, very maturely, puts the ball on the ground, gets back to his feet. And Eastwood, Allies calling for it on his near side, but it's Hughes on that far side. And a flow to Bassett, just forward.
It's a real shame, isn't it? He's a tremendous athlete and he's carried absolutely brilliantly today, but he is error-strewn at times, and all that good work, hands-free, and then doesn't quite manage to get the offload away, and he's just trying too hard, I think.
It was a point they made about Billy Vunipola breaking through, wasn't it? A little bit high going into the contact. I wonder whether Nathan Hughes, especially a couple of times going into the contact, and you get away with it against Zebre, but just a bit high going into the contact.
Look, he is so physical, and he is at the moment finding it quite easy out there physically, that I think he's perhaps doing things that he wouldn't normally do in a game where it was more where there was less space, it was a bit more physical. He would carry lower, he would look to get to ground a bit quicker. You know, today, less so, and I think that's perhaps why those mistakes are creeping in.
You're happy, guys, yeah? Sure.
Interesting viewing for Steve Borthwick, isn't it?
What are we doing, guys?
Talking about that game against Northampton. A busy weekend.
Okay, HIA, come in.
Without
HIA,
Alex King. Northampton against Montpellier today. 5 o'clock on Sky Sports 2 for you. And the other game in this pool, Connacht against Toulouse, 5:30. Tomorrow, 12:30 on the 3, Bordeaux-Bègles against Ulster. And Racing Munster to round off the weekend for you. Ron O'Gara against his old province. Jimmy Goffert gets a huge cheer, and rightly so. He's had a superb start to the season, as we've been saying to Goffert.
Bind!
Carl Eastman.
Let's go down.
Score for HIA. An injury assessment. And we will see that combination, that foil between Cipriani and Goffert. And to begin with,
use it 9!
it's in defensive mode. Ruza. 2 tries
Strip
already.
is good, Strip is good, White!
For him.
Hands away, White!
Sniffing a hat-trick, that's something
That's it!
to go home with. Ross have turned it, now get the full penalty as well. And immediately, as soon as they get the penalty, the energy picks up from Wasps. Players jumping at the bit to get the ball, Cruz, and then launch for it. Daly with a fizzed out pass. Need a scrum half though. Halai comes in. Shake for a
Give me the colour, please.
scrum half, Frank Halai. Terry Holmes though. Here is Simpson. The man with 9 on his back. Gaskell. Little angle off Hughes.
Tackle move!
That ball to the forward, one out, don't they? And it's often a little pass to another forward on an angle. Another card coming for Wasps, and it's their old hooker, Carlo Festuccia, who's been in contact in the last few weeks, complimenting Wasps and Di Young on superb performances and victories they've been having. They'll get a bit of ribbing, I would have thought.
Well, it was the right penalty to give away. I think they gave 2 or 3 on the bounce, didn't they? And I think on both occasions they were under pressure. So probably right to give it away, and certainly right to take a walk and have a 10-minute break.
Stuccia, here for 3 years, 25 appearances in the Premiership, 9 Champions Cup games for Wasps. Sitting a little bit high on Skelbeck.
Hold back! Through the middle. Still advantage.
Lazani. Through the legs will come back for the penalty.
High tackle 8. Mark right on the touch.
Just drifted up with the arm, Danny Cipriani.
Lower.
Well, he tackles when he has to, doesn't he, Cipriani? But it's certainly not his favourite pastime.
Still started. Danny Cipriani, fullback. Started at fullback in the 2007 Heineken Cup final victory, as it was then.
Yeah, it was poor, wasn't it, really? Big run up at him, and he didn't fancy it, I don't think.
Cheers. 10, lower.
Fullback that day. And the scrum cap, if memory serves me right. James Haskell came off for the bench for the captain that day, Lawrence Delalio.
Tell them how many. In you come, captain. 5.
Yapika was waiting. Reserve hooker. Derek Minnie. The hooker responsibilities. It's a wobbly one.
Wait on.
He says play on though. Biaggi.
No effect. Arrive up.
To take their scraps today, won't they, Zebre? Good couple of minutes. Zuza just fends off.
Away now, Black.
Hughes, 4-0. He's going to be able to turn that ball over.
No advantage. Yeah.
It's knocked on by Wasps, and Zebre will have that scrum. They'll need a hooker now.
Yeah, 11 who, guys?
Has been a bit scrappy, hasn't it, from Wasps in the opening exchange of this second half. I don't think the initial try really helped them. I would imagine there'd have been some words spoken about tightening things up, getting back on track, executing our game plan, tightening up around the contact zone. All kind of goes out the window when you get off to a flyer like that. Rather destabilises them, and they just look a little bit at odds and ends at the moment and need someone just to take hold of them and remind them of perhaps what they need to focus on.
Let's take Minini. Pika coming on for him. It's Tom Cruise. You Lee Blackett very well from Rotherham days, the golden era at the Titans. Alex Reed is in the squad as well. Came off the bench last week for Tommy Taylor. Wasn't expected to start the game against Saracens. Couple of introduction, wasn't it, against the double champions, came from London Irish.
Ear to ear.
Here's Lee Blackett in charge of the attack here, the backs coach.
Bind!
He's a really happy brought in Phil Blake for the defence, formerly of Leicester Tigers.
Set up right then, guys.
Andy Chitral working as well with the forwards, and Dan Richmond as well.
Seconds.
Underneath Guy Young. Who was seeing the low times here at Wasps, now enjoying the high times, but very, very strongly making the point this week. This is not the finished article. Still a lot to come from this squad, from this Wasps squad. Not only personnel. He would have enjoyed that scrum, wouldn't he, Guy Young?
Both down.
There's Andy Chitral. Ancient Irish Lion. From Gloucester and Sale hookup.
Captain.
Rugby at 7 as well, didn't he, Andy Chitral?
Yeah, enormously quick. Not the biggest hooker, but really, really mobile. And again, a good technical hooker in terms of his ability both at scrum and line-out time.
Okay, 10 black.
Carl Eastman, very, very keen to show what he's about today. Carl Eastman. And it's Cipriani who makes way. Danny Cipriani, outside of one conversion, has been absolutely superb today. Back at the club he started his rugby career at, Danny Cipriani. Superb 52 minutes for him.
Yeah, as you say, bar the one conversion, an absolutely faultless display, and I think quite right. Wrap him up in cotton wool. Huge game next week.
Set.
We learned a lot from Dan Braid, and Paul Deacon is tied off in Sale. Dan Braid, a real rugby brain. Zebre. Venditti. He's enough for Gopperth, and then Miller fires one out wide for Daly. And there's that big left boot of his. But slightly more angle on it. There's Cunner. 12 times capped for Italy. In his second season on a pro contract. He's in the World Cup squad before making his pro 12 debut. Ashley Johnson. A little carry for Ashley Johnson, a little step in there as well. He would have enjoyed that.
11 carries is a big number, but I think more importantly they've been effective carries, haven't they? He's made great yardage on almost every occasion.
Cruz first, and then Simpson. Gaskell now. Gopperth. Eastman. Oh, and Eastman has broken through. Will he have the pace? It's Simpson. Zebre piling back. Desperate defence for the Italians. Daly. Launch spree. Just need to be simple here. Watts. Bassin is dragged out the touch, or is it? They've kept it in somehow. Watts.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Andy.
Peter, just possible footing.
Skipper's going to have a look at this one.
Yes or no, please. Happy with grounding.
Okay, we'll check
Zebre
that.
did well, didn't they, to get back? They flooded back. There were plenty of numbers in the line. Looked like they'd snuffed it out now. hard to tell. There's a Zebre foot, isn't there, underneath the Wasp body there, just keeping him off the ground.
It's really, really tight from where we are, Pete.
It's in touch there anyway.
Quite clear, isn't it, from the reverse angle?
There'll be no try. Just want to make sure here.
It's in possession of the ball there.
To the
just give me some
result,
space, please.
is it?
Andy, I have a decision for you.
Yeah, Peter.
The ball carrier is in touch.
Okay.
Line out to White.
Thank you. No score. Player in touch.
It was a great rearguard action that from Zebre.
Just wait,
Zebre, wasn't it?
Wait.
All tracked back and got across. They looked done for.
Step away, guys.
After that initial line break.
Thank you.
Still some life in the legs, you'd say.
It was desperate defensive work from it because
when you're ready, Ed,
through all the money that Wasps are in again for try number 8. It's a little bit of fire in the belly. Often is it. For a fallout, launch spring, spinning and twisting, and there is try number 8. So quick, Joe Launchbury. It's their first of the line out, only in training during the week, but there in that corner, he was there quickly, took the line out from Zebre, chalks up 5 points for himself.
He reacted well, didn't he? And it's just desserts, really, all day. He's worked hard at ruck time and maul time and line-out time. Poor execution it was from the Italians. He reacted first, didn't he? And showed great strength again. Rolled out of a couple of tackles and a rare 5-pointer for him.
One of the constants in his squad, and continuity, a big part of also doing this man signing a new contract this week. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. One of the most consistent kickers in Europe, Jimmy Goffin, has been for years.
Yeah, and you cannot overstate the importance of that as you move through this tournament. Invariably there will be games where they are won and lost on the narrowest of margins, and having someone like Goppeth in your squad who does not miss is going to be absolutely key to progressing. Some great action shots there of Johnson. He's been big today.
It's been a change, Ross.
Hold on.
14 of their 27 tries coming into today in the Premiership, starting in their own half. It's been different for them today. Tries much closer range in the games that we've been talking about. Pat,
you kicked into
against Harlequins, only had 3 rucks in Harlequins 22, still
back 10 White
won 47 points to 18.
Happy there, Ed.
7-try dismantling of the London outfit against Northampton under huge amounts of pressure.
But I think you can go back to some of the aspects we've seen today to understand why, you know, when they do make a line break, they flow through as a team, and they are very much in tune as an attacking unit, and they run the right line at the right time, and they finish, and they're one of the few teams, if not the only team, in European rugby at the moment that can just as easily score from 50 or 60 out as they can from 10.
Yeah, Goppeth try, Franco's Gardens.
Okay, open up. Captain, 4 on you.
Second winner this calendar year. Will surely be right up there. Try the season, Launchbury ripping up his own man. Going on, Joe Launchbury.
Off feet.
A good couple of minutes, isn't he? Simpson. Goppeth. There's a man in the way, just floats it over the top of it.
Ball is out.
Zebre getting a foot in there.
Wait on, White!
Johnson piling in. Wasn't liked by the Italians. Yeah.
Wait.
just took the carry just to get his half back on his feet.
Away now.
Poorly. Got off and launch free. Nice hand from him again. On the field now. Great to see him back on the park. Gaskell.
Stay there.
Trying to go through the middle. Just got loose from Wasps.
Up on in the tackle.
Will be where they make the most dangerous. Lior. Miller. Great offload for Bassett. Breaking up. The Wasps have been so dangerous all season. No more so than in those situations. Creeping towards, racing towards the 60-point mark.
Yeah, everyone in on the action now. As soon as the game breaks up. Far too easy, isn't it? Simpson's been great, actually. I think he's made some great decisions in and around, and lovely pickup from Bassett there. Made that look a lot easier than it was. In and out from Miller, gets his hands free, but off the bootlaces, wasn't it? Great skill.
Getting towards a sort of category of European records here, Wasps. Skopper looks to take it over 60. He's done that. Hardly put a foot wrong this season. Wasn't going to there. Well, young, no smile yet. Highest score, 77 points. Biggest margin, 66 points. Most tries, 11. We're up to 9 tries at the moment.
Well, it's hard to see from this at this stage in the game, the way they're playing, that they won't smash those records. But you take that last try in isolation. It looks very simple, doesn't it? It really isn't. Simpson with a great decision, takes the line. Fantastic offload from Miller, beautifully picked up from Bassett, and a 5-pointer. But how many teams have the ability to string those things together so effortlessly?
Timaki. Field out, replacement prop for Zebre. Still Sakali. Forward pass, Wasp scrum. Had a good day, Joe, launch free. First start for over a month for the England international.
Arguably a forward pass, isn't it? The ball had been transferred to the guy, but a great decision from Launchbury, and he has had a big game today. He's done the right work at the right time, and it's easy to be dragged into a loose game when you're playing against a side that you are so much obviously dominant over, and so much of that is down to his ability, I guess, to marshal his troops and ensure that they make the right decision at the right time. And that, coupled with some fantastic pieces of play individually as well from himself, he should be very pleased with that performance, and I'm sure Borthwick is looking on in the stands.
No pre-engage, guys.
Tommy Taylor, he can't be too far away. England said though himself, he had that shocking injury, didn't he? While playing for the Saxons a couple of years back, really stalled his progress. Just the one cap for England against Wales, but he's in that EPS squad. Saxon of the summer.
Fully engaged on the crouch. You've just come on.
Watch your 10, Bressy, your 10.
Scrum code. You've just come on. If it's not enough space, step back, okay? I want you ear to ear.
Benches being unloaded now.
Don't touch him.
Phil Swainston for Wasps with Tom Bristow. New props.
Good space, good balance. Coach!
One of the advantages, I guess, of being in this position at this stage is that you can just avoid the last 20 of the game with some of your key players. Keep them well rested for next week. So many injuries picked up in the last 20 when players become fatigued, and that will undoubtedly be of an advantage next week.
So they were nursing some bruises coming into this game. Wasps. McIntyre really the only long-term injury with an ankle. Let's go down to James Gill now.
Di Young, people on days like this talk about tries and totals and records and all sorts of things. I imagine that coaches look at targets of a different kind. What is it that you're hoping for, aiming for the second half?
Well, first half we've got the bonus point first half, so we couldn't get more out of the game when it comes to points. We're a little bit disappointed. Obviously, we've allowed them to score 2 tries. Certainly, that was our target coming into the second half. No more tries.
Bassett for
we'll
Simpson.
Just hold now, and I think they might pick up for us.
Joe Simpson underneath the sticks, and there's a Wasp special, right from their own half. Breathtaking attack, isn't it? Sniff, the slightest opening, Bassett straight through, and then, well, it's just pick a player who's in support.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Bassett floods through. Tremendous pace from Bassett, wasn't it? A real clean pair of heels, but look left, look right, everybody lining up. They've all recognised the line break. They've all flooded through. Could have sent it pretty much anywhere. As it was, he picked out Simpson. Lovely dummy from Simpson. Figures he'll have another under the sticks. You just can't miss a tackle against these guys.
And Gopeth adds the extras. Thought it was safe to talk to Di Young. They're in their own half, but of course it was Wasps, so let's go back to him now.
Yeah, sorry guys, rudely interrupted. Attack's looking good, you're meaning defence. No more tries in the second half conceded.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were disappointed. We had 2 tries against us in the first half, which was a bit sloppy. So there's a bit of a rallying call to make sure we hold defensively. We got a little bit loose as well first half, and we wanted to tighten up and go through the structures. No, but we've scored a lot of good tries, and we just got to keep our foot on the pedal now and make sure we don't become casual and a bit loose.
Using the bench, some of it enforced. Gopeth came on for Eastman, then Cipriani came off and Gopeth stayed on. That was always the plan?
Yeah, obviously the main thing is coming into this game, if we can come away with 5 points and no injuries, and obviously be in a good position for next week. That's what it's all about now, getting people game time, making sure we don't pick up any injuries, and hopefully allows me to pick from pretty much a full strength squad next week.
Okay, have you started to think about next week? Have you started to think about how you might manage this squad, how you might pick next week's team?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to do that before this game, you know. I think you allow people to put their hands up today as well, but obviously we review this game, but the most important thing is to have the ability to pick from as many people as possible.
Excellent, Di. Well done today. Thank you.
As we watch Joe Simpson try in training this week, if it had been a cup final, a few of those players may well have been involved. As say McIntyre, their kind of longest term injury. But a game like today, expecting against the Italians, struggling to get any wins under the belt so far this season. Now Robson comes on. With a new contract.
Coach!
But just not push players that have got those slight niggles to give them a week off before you go off to France to Toulouse next week.
Yeah, of course, they'll have a pecking order. That being said, it's a very different Wasps squad this year. Looks to be stronger in depth, more sustainable, I think, and evidently so. They've run some changes here, plenty of intensity. It's more the same by way of game breakers.
And the guys coming off the bench, lifting that tempo again. You saw from Guy Thompson there, and Dan Robson had a bit of zip as well.
Move right! Hold.
Yeah, no, there really is, and we saw it. You know, even right up to the front row. You know, that I don't think that the set piece has suffered by making those changes. You know, if you're Di Young looking at this now, you're thinking, okay, this bodes well as this season wears on.
They're coming away. Julio has had a touch though. Just a tiny little spark. What has been a bleak afternoon for Zebre. Guy Thompson has been one of these players that's really grown here at the club.
Yeah, and he's really comfortable, isn't he? Ball in hand, you can see there. Great pick-up, turns, but a very soft offload. You know, he's a natural ball handler.
He always had that X factor. Through the Gloucester Academy and Richmond, and outstanding the jersey in the championship. He always had that X factor, that power, but he's really worked on the nuts and bolts of his game.
Look, he isn't the same sort of stature as Hughes is, but he is a better ball player. He's a far better passer of the ball. Looks very comfortable ball in hand, and he's actually, again, a good compliment coming off the bench. Brings you something different.
And there is Julia goes down from Bassett.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Andy.
We look at this.
My first view is that Levin wasn't in a realistic position. He just ran straight into the white player. So I just want to check that. Time is off.
Okay, stand by.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great
they're
kick.
in a realistic position, actually, there. Making a genuine attempt to go for the ball. Do you agree?
Josh Bassett's eyes haven't moved off the ball, is it?
Yeah, I'm happy there, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, he misjudged it a touch, didn't he? Overshot it.
Accidental collision, play on.
Yeah. Let's go, play on.
Yeah, great kick. I mean, you want your number 9 to stick it up, stick it high, get your winger underneath it, within that tram line, within that 5-metre area.
Back 10.
Brilliantly executed kick. Tiny bit off from Bassett, wasn't it? But we'll allow him that.
Just that one last point about the back rows, but not just about the back rows, but the entire squad, the influence that George Smith had. Yeah, huge hit. De Julia comes away. Leo made the original hit. Comes back to finish the job off. Swainson, offload from here. Bassett. Gaskell outside. Gillenberg, good tackle from him on Josh Bassett. Penalty coming in. Darren Robson here will look to take this one quickly and shortly because he's got so many men on his left-hand side. Little chip from Robson. Where's he going to bounce? For Dan Robson himself. The other falls over himself. They're lining up on the right-hand side. They go left though, Wasps. Gaskell. Try number 11. That equals the record for Wasps in the top level of European competition for tries scored in a match.
And all structure now has fallen away from this game, hasn't it? And it really suits some of these the youngsters that they've brought on for Wasps. Tremendous intensity. And just 2 errors, Troon, really, from Zebre. And Gaskell, well, he's worked hard, hasn't he? All day. And the ever-extendable arm. And he gets over the whitewash himself.
He was the man who was outside Bassett when Bassett was trying to break through as well. Tireless work ethic from James Gaskell.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. He can run, he can cover ground. Really, to play the way that Wasps play, you need athletes throughout the side. And yeah, Gaskell's a tremendous engine on him and a quick man himself.
Superb, wasn't he, last season? Out of the match against Toulon. This ground is Gopeth. 73 points. Scrub that. 75. The 2 just for good measure.
I think perhaps the first time in the game, Zebre were very slow getting back on that occasion. Caught short, and we wonder how much is left in their legs now. As they look up at the scoreboard, they see 75 points.
Well, no doubt would have learned from the great Wallaby George Smith, only here for a season, but as a man, as a professional around the place, underestimate the influence he made. Johnson just fending off Zebre players to 13 carries now, over 50 metres. Neat work, wasn't it, from Swainson, just to keep the move going. That's a reserve prop, understanding where the space is, where the attack needs to go. Halley, Robson.
No intention from the Wasp side to kick at all here, though. It's run now, I think, till the final whistle goes.
Simmons with the original Button and Thompson back on his feet. Just secures that ball, Robson. So much space back there. Bassett is after it. Raiola clears, but it's only momentary respite for the Italians.
Great option to kick there. Poorly read though, wasn't it, by Bassett on that occasion. If he'd have seen that, as you say, there was acres of space in behind. Just I guess a momentary lapse in communication between the two.
This is how the season pans out. But we are hoping to be involved sort of around 3 and 4 as they have those back-to-back games against Connacht. Struggled at the beginning of the season. They Connacht, but a good win over Ulster last week. Toulouse away next week again. Someone coughing and spluttering Toulouse, but never easy at the Ernest Fallon. And then of course we'll have Toulouse at home and Zebre away. Maybe done and dusted by then.
Well, I mean, next week's a big week, isn't it? If they can travel away to Toulouse and pick up the points away from home on that occasion, then that really will tee them up nicely. But as you say, it's a difficult place to go, but as a player, I mean, honestly, there's nowhere better really than a full house in Toulouse.
Robson, Gaskell, show this time. Robson again, delightful service, isn't it? Gopeth wanted a short angle, got one from Johnston. Eastman, it's brilliant, it's offload central. And London Wasps just continue to empty Rugby's top drawer. Magical try again from Wasps. Doesn't matter who finishes them off this time, it's Robson, Gopper, Johnson, Eastman, all involved.
You know, it's impossible to stop, and it's the subtlety, isn't it? Johnson with a beautiful line back towards the pass, lovely offload, the next guy kicks out, gets outside his man with another beautiful offload, and then Robson to secure the record. Beautiful bits of skill on display at every point throughout that, and what a fine try it was. But you can see Johnson comes back at the ball, Eastman kicks out, gets outside his man, lovely little inside pass, and then under the sticks for another. But you know, it looks simple, it really isn't. It is absolutely brilliantly executed.
Just flooding right in behind the man. 82 points.
Inside, boys.
12 tries. Most they've ever scored.
Not making a genuine attempt to go for the ball. Making no attempt to go for the ball.
Champions Cup hiding cup as it was. Most tries. Metres made, game line success 60. Well, we said earlier some of the stats have been off the chart. I mean, they are off the chart. Expected a little bit more from Zebre, but Wasps just continue to play some really irresistible rugby. Lost last week to Saracens. Wasn't a bad thing. So I feel most annoyed about getting their game going was certainly part of that was not being allowed to by Saracens. You can see the reaction today, especially in that first 10-15 minutes. They scored 3 really quick tries and they've just continued to score tries, and the more this game has broken up, it's played into their hands. 12 tries.
Off feet now, off feet, White.
Hello.
No,
comes in Robson.
All the way, guys.
Another chip over the top again. Communication not quite there. There's still some areas to work on, isn't it? Defensively, a couple of tries against a bit of communication, but Pat, tough decision I would have thought. You're man of the match time.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? We've seen so many brilliant displays today. We've been, I thought, Launchbury has really balanced his game out today. He's done absolutely the right thing. He's led the team absolutely beautifully. He deserves a mention, but I think rarely do you get the opportunity to witness such a fine display of fly half rugby. The first half today from Danny Cipriani was absolutely breathtaking, and for that reason he is my Heineken man of the match.
Cipriani, man of the match. Looks pretty good game. Here's Johnson again filling in the back row, normally used as a hooker nowadays. Here's Gopper fizzing around to please come on. Liua, Samoan international, played since October 2015 I should say.
Off feet.
Think about this magical tries that they're scoring today. You got Philly LaRue on his day, one of the best fullbacks, certainly attacking fullbacks in the world. Curtly Beale, Christian Wade are out there today. Wanted to make a statement, didn't they, today, Wasps? So Glasgow made one last night. People will open the papers tomorrow and look on the websites. 82 points scored, and much of it conducted by that man in the first half.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what's so impressive really about Cipriani was it's just how he pulled the strings, wasn't it? How he made it tick for everybody else, and where, you know, and at the moment, Cipriani in his moment is probably the best number 10 that England have got. The sad thing is he's not considered, and I think it's a great shame. You have to wonder what more he has to do.
Back on.
29th Champions Cup game today. Sees an outspeak from the crowd. And it's time, didn't he, at the Melbourne Rebels and at Sale now. Back
Good
here
discipline,
at
let's
Wasps,
finish positively.
realised that Ross on the up, not approach, as he said this week, to try and work his way back into the England squad, but to
set, stay there,
be back involved in something he's already won European silverware with.
Just getting ahead of me, boys. Okay,
And on a performance like today,
let's go.
what have we learnt about Wasps today,
both of you.
if anything? Just confirming what we already know?
Look, I think there will be those that will say, look, it's Zebre. You know, we would expect Wasps to put them to the sword. We'd expect them, you know, to win and win comfortably. But this is 82 points at the moment. Let's put that in perspective.
At the moment,
it's an absolute whopping score, and you know, I think it reaffirms what most people know, and that Wasps are the real deal this year. And unless you are at your very, very best, they'll find a way to beat you.
got it. They want more Wasps.
Wait.
Robson to Tommy Taylor. There's the scrum half again. Fizz that ball out to Young, but Zebre wrestled it back. Skelbeck, a rare touch for Zebre. Violi sets off. So he's going. In the end, he boots a ball. They'll be more than happy for this final whistle. Where the Italians still cannot win in Europe.
Well, they look shell-shocked, actually, Zebre. And to be fair, I think if Wasps had just perhaps been a little bit more considered in the last 10 minutes, they'd have scored more.
Wait on.
We're not going to get there now, but 108 points to lose, scored against Emma Vale in the 1999 season. This for Wasps is a record day in Europe.
It's got to be made available immediately. No, it's underneath his leg and he doesn't have to move.
You know, we talk about the success of Wasps in Coventry, in this stadium. So much of it is down to the fact that it is a fantastic brand of rugby to watch, isn't it? people want to turn up and watch these guys play rugby.
Let's go, fellas.
Quite understandably, fantastic stadium, fantastic arena, but perhaps more importantly, just brilliant to watch.
Let's go, guys. Coach! Bind! Set! Yeah, thanks, man.
Zebre. Just a final.
Stay back, stay back.
Van Skelbeck.
Kicking inside.
Looked like a 5-point bonus point win for Wasps, didn't it? And the fixtures were announced. They will have tougher tests, Wasps, but have to play what's in front of you. And 12 tries in all.
Hands!
It's defensive lapse for the 2 tries that Zebre scored in that first half.
Effect, just stepped away.
Be reviewed come Monday. Looseness in the second half, but some tries, some real quality from all over the field. Something different this season.
Backwards.
Now Zebre trying to do a little bit of Wasps.
6 move!
Ruza. Viola. Skelbeck. Shot by Tommy Taylor and Gaskell.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great sign, isn't it? The hits are still going in from Wasps. They're not going defensively soft.
Advantage.
You know,
got the advantage.
Well over the 80-minute mark, and Tommy Taylor's still trying to knock people in the middle of next week. Will have put himself into the middle of next week. He's only just come back from gastroenteritis. Eastman played the full game, still making his hits. The defensive line still coming up nice and strong. Will please Phil Blake, defensive coach of Wasps. Guy Thompson has got in there for a steal, and Wasps. Rob Miller sniffing. Robson, Dan Robson. Will he need help? Hand in there from Tanavani. Look on for Wasps. Zebre in the end kick the ball out because Wasps have won superbly. The Times today on a completely different rugby planet to their opponents. 82 points to 14, the final score. Beat the most points they've ever scored in a European Champions Cup game. Beat the biggest ever winning margin in a European Champions Cup game. Scored more tries than they have ever done in a European Champions Cup game. Superb from Wasps at times today, absolutely superb. But they will now quickly refocus for next week for an away trip to Toulouse. But today is a record day in Europe for Wasps. This group has spoken about creating their own history. Could this be